Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. I'm just so thrilled you're joining us today for this custom-tailored deep dive. We've got a really wild ride ahead of us.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So our mission today is to summarize the wildly entertaining, incredibly apocalyptic, and honestly just hilarious events of a book called Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. We're going to move chronologically through the absolute madness of this source material.
Right, pulling out all those important nuggets of, survival, snark, and just the sheer absurdity of fighting for your life on an intergalactic stage.
Exactly. So I want you to picture this. The apocalypse happens, but it's not zombies. It's not a nuclear wasteland.
Far from it.
It's an intergalactic corporate buyout. You're standing outside on a freezing January night in Seattle. You just found out your girlfriend is cheating on you.
Ouch.
Right. And your survival gear consists of boxers, a heavy leather jacket, and your ex's two small pink Crocs.
The pink Crocs are crucial here.
They really are. And to top it all off, you're holding her squirming, scratching, prized Persian cat, Princess Donut, the Queen Anne Chonk.
What a name.
So you're freezing, you're completely miserable, and then at exactly 2:23 a.m., every single building on Earth is instantly flattened, just crushed like a tin can under a cosmic boot.
It's just instant devastation.
Everyone inside is gone. Carl, our main guy, he only survives that initial crush because he happened to be outside chasing the cat.
And this premise immediately shifts the narrative. It moves away from your standard alien invasion into something much more bureaucratic and, honestly, deeply cynical.
Yeah, it's not a war.
Exactly. It's not a malicious extermination. It's a corporate restructuring. The source material reveals that Earth has simply been claimed by an alien oversight entity, the Borant Corporation.
Yeah.
They just want to mine the resources. They're stripping the planet down to its elemental deposits.
Just a giant mining operation.
Right. But intergalactic law mandates this very specific loophole for the survivors. Those lucky or unlucky enough to be outside get a choice.
It's a terrible choice.
A very terrible choice. A booming robotic AI message from the syndicate gives them exactly 1 hour. They can either stay on the freezing surface and die, or they can enter one of 150,000 glowing staircases that just appeared globally. Those stairs lead into an 18-level subterranean world dungeon.
And if they go inside, they aren't just fighting monsters in some dark cave. They are suddenly part of a broadcasted game show.
Precisely. They had to fight for their survival on a live intergalactic reality show watched by trillions across the universe. It's the ultimate commodification of human suffering.
Wow. So Carl is freezing to death in his boxers. He doesn't really have the time to sit there and process the existential horror of his species being wiped out from mineral raids.
No time at all.
He just sees this warm, glowing staircase where a thrift store used to be, and he just runs for it, carrying Donut.
It's pure survival instinct kicking in. And the moment they cross that threshold, reality just dissolves into this highly structured, violently gamified environment.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because this is where the bizarre video game mechanics completely take over Carl's reality. The tone gets wonderfully unhinged here.
It really does.
Anyone familiar with RPGs knows about health bars and inventory screens, but Carl has to figure this out while the system itself actively mocks him. It starts bombarding him with achievements instantly.
The system is so petty.
It is. He gets the Crazy Cat Lady achievement just for entering with a cat. He gets empty pockets for bringing no supplies. But my favorite, he gets the Why Aren't You Wearing Pets achievement.
And it throws him a gold apparel box for that.
Yep. Bronze and silver boxes for the others. But then there's Donut. Because she's the very first cat to enter the entire world dungeon, she is awarded a legendary pet box.
The gamification of their trauma is such a crucial theme. The system is explicitly designed to be entertaining for the viewers at home, so it thrives on snark.
Right, but Carl doesn't even have time to figure out his digital inventory before they are attacked. Chronologically, this is his first real fight, and he's a barefoot guy in boxers.
Barely surviving. He triggers a trap in a dark alleyway and unleashes a goblin murder dozer.
A goblin murder dozer?
Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. A tractor-sized, steam-powered machine covered in spikes, driven by 3 goblins. Carl is totally unarmed, but he leaps onto the bucking machine, completely bypassing any elegant combat skills. He survives by snatching a literal kitchen pot off the head of the goblin engineer and just clobbering him with it.
That is amazing. It really showcases his raw grit right from the start. He beats the goblin and stumbles into this brightly lit neon sign that says Day Tutorial Guild.
And this is where they finally get a minute to breathe.
Yeah, they meet a character who actually explains the nightmare to them, Mordecai. He's a changeling, currently forced into the form of a rat man.
What's fascinating here is how Mordecai explains the true economic engine of the dungeon. That mining operation on the surface, that's just a fraction of the profit.
Just a side hustle.
Exactly. The real money for the Alien Corporation is in the broadcast rights. The World Dungeon is the most popular reality television show in the universe. Viewers tune in to watch planets get depopulated. So Mordecai tells Carl that survival isn't just about physical strength. It's about chutzpah.
Chutzpah. It's all about getting views.
Right. You can't just quietly kill a monster. You have to do it with style. You have to be polarizing or dramatic enough that the audience sponsors you and sends you life-saving loot boxes. If you're boring, the system will actively try to eliminate you.
It's the ultimate terrifying evolution of streamer culture. Now, while Carl is getting this heavy dystopian reality check, Donut the cat is just sitting by the fire. Mordecai activates their menus so they can open their loot boxes.
The legendary one.
Yes, Donut opens her legendary pet box and receives an item called the Enchanted Crown of the Sepsis Whore.
Such a wild name.
Totally ridiculous and ominous, but she puts the crown on her head.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the Xace moment. The dynamic of the story completely shifts. The system dictates that any biological creature needs a base intelligence stat of at least 2 to qualify as a crawler instead of a pet. That crown is a massive stat boost.
It gives her human intelligence.
Yes, it instantly elevates Donut's intelligence, granting her full sentience.
And the ability to speak.
Huh.
The system has a built-in translator, so she's speaking perfect English to Carl, but to the aliens, it's standard dialogue. Her very first words are just a brutal critique of Carl's outfit.
She demands to know why his ex-girlfriend ever hired him in the first place. Her personality is just instantly cemented. She doesn't adapt to the apocalypse. She demands to speak to the manager of it.
She insists on being called Grand Champion Best in Dungeon Princess Donut.
Naturally.
And she demotes Carl to her manservant, though she does upgrade him to royal bodyguard later.
The juxtaposition is brilliant. Carl is this grounded, traumatized human fighting for survival, and Donut is a haughty showcat, deeply concerned with her follower count. And she actually gets magic powers. She shoots magic missiles from her eyes so she doesn't have to get her paws dirty.
They make such a bizarre but functional team. They clear monsters, gain levels, and finally locate a staircase to descend to floor 2.
Floor 2 is a major escalation. It's not just caves anymore. It's a twisted, condensed, grid-like version of Seattle. The neighborhoods have these dangerous themes, but the biggest challenge they face isn't the monster.
Right. They find other humans, Brandon, Imani, and Chris, and they are protecting a massive group of 39 elderly residents from a destroyed nursing home.
It's a tactically impossible situation. The only staircase to the 3rd floor is right in the middle of a boss room, and a massive monster is actively hunting the vulnerable elderly group. To the system, these people are dead weight.
Here's where it gets really interesting. How does a guy in boxers and a talking cat protect 39 elderly people? Carl comes up with a plan that is absolute madness. They build a literal parade float.
It's desperate engineering. They scavenge wheelchairs, strip them down, attach them to reinforced wood, and chain them into a giant 10-car train. Imani and Chris physically drag this clattering train through the dungeon halls, making a mad dash for the staircase.
The tension is crazy. And as they run, the dungeon unleashes a rage elemental. It's an unstoppable force. Carl knows they can't fight it. But earlier, he built a massive homemade explosive out of scavenged goblin dynamite stuffed into a shopping cart.
The MOAB. The mother of all bombs.
Yeah, the MOAB.
The tactical application here is brilliant. Carl uses himself as bait. He sprints toward the open staircase hole with the elemental right behind him. He detonates the MOAB to use the kinetic shockwave to physically knock the elemental down the stairs.
And because of the dungeon's physics, if a monster falls down the stairs without taking the proper path, the system dissolves it. So they win. They save the elderly folks. But there's a huge catch.
A devastating one. Because they used a loophole to dissolve the boss instead of killing it, the automated system denies them the massive experience points and loot they desperately needed. Carl knowingly sacrifices his own character progression to save 39 strangers.
But the universe is watching. Their viewership skyrockets. The intergalactic audience loves the heroics. And because of this massive surge in fame, the media apparatus intervenes. They are plucked out of the dungeon and summoned to a talk show called Dungeon Crawler After Hours with Odette.
Odette is a fascinating character. She's a glamorous alien woman hosting a recap show. The environment is so jarring. A pristine holographic studio with a live audience, contrasting with Carl and Donut, who are still covered in monster blood.
Odette is playing highlight reels of Carl screaming in terror, and the audience is just laughing at his trauma.
This raises an important question regarding the media figures. Why is Odette taking a special interest? During the interview, she drops her persona to give them highly classified advice for the upcoming floors. She explicitly warns them not to trust the automated system or the corporate entities.
Carl is suspicious, of course.
And when he asks what her motivation is, her honesty is chilling. She says she loves money. The longer Carl and Donut stay alive and generate drama, the more money her show makes.
It's such a harsh reality. Their allies are fundamentally exploiting them for profit, and that cynicism bleeds right back into the dungeon when they return, because not all the humans are building parade floats to save each other.
No. The pressure strips away some people's humanity entirely. Carl and Donut encounter PKers, player killers, specifically a disturbing duo named Frank Q and Maggie Mai.
Why start hunting humans when there are alien monsters everywhere?
It's a horrific calculation. Frank and Maggie realize fighting armored monsters is hard. Murdering terrified, disoriented humans is easy. They've been hunting crawlers to steal gear and absorb experience points. They commodify the suffering of their own species for an easy level up.
It really shakes Carl when he sees what humans are capable of. But before he can fully process it, the media steps in again. They are summoned to another show, much darker than Odette's. It's called Death Watch Extreme Dungeon Mayhem, hosted by an orc named the Maestro.
This broadcast represents the absolute darkest impulses of the audience. The Maestro plucks vulnerable crawlers who are seconds away from certain death and freezes them in a stasis hologram. He forces famous crawlers to place bets on whether those tracked people will live or die when the stasis lifts.
It's psychological torture. Empathy turned into a cheap betting mechanic.
So what does this all mean for Carl's character arc? He's pushed into a corner by a vastly more powerful being. How does he react?
He completely rejects the premise. He refuses to play. On live intergalactic TV, he verbally obliterates the Maestro, calling out the depravity of the show. And then he boldly challenges the Maestro's family. He publicly calls out a Prince of the Skull Empire, demanding a fight on the 9th floor.
It's a defining moment. Carl isn't just surviving anymore. He is actively antagonizing the powers that be. Challenging a prince makes massive waves across the galaxy. It's highly political and puts a massive target on his back. But he refuses to be their dancing monkey.
He'd rather be a heavily armed bodyguard to a talking cat. Speaking of which, the last major event before they leave the floor happens in a kobold neighborhood. They find an underground fighting pit with cages of abused dingoes used as bait. Carl refuses to kill them and feeds them instead, and they find a very different creature there.
A baby creature that looks like a dinosaur, squawks like a chicken, and eats monster innards.
And Donut just falls in love with it. She claims it, names it Mongo, and adopts it. So her royal court is now a pantsless human and a baby dinosaur.
It perfectly captures the unexpected heart of their journey.
It really does. And just as they prepare to head down to floor 3, we get this amazing cliffhanger. It goes back to Odette's cryptic advice. She told them that on the 3rd floor, they have to choose permanent character classes.
Yes, Odette's warning is highly specific.
Mm-hmm.
Because Donut has such high charisma, the system will offer her a hidden, restricted class.
Yeah.
Odette advises them to take it for survival, but adds a chilling caveat. Choosing that class is going to make a very powerful entity incredibly angry.
It's such a brilliant hook. You know they are about to walk right into a massive intergalactic mess armed with explosives and a dinosaur.
The world building is just phenomenal. And if we step back and look at the thematic core here, it leaves you with a lingering philosophical thought. Carl, Donut, and millions of humans are experiencing profound trauma and terror, and an entire universe sits back, eats popcorn, and laughs. It forces you to consider the nature of reality. It makes you wonder, how much of our own daily reality, our own struggles and triumphs, might just be entertainment for a higher dimension we can't even perceive? Are we all just performing on a stage in a game we don't know we're playing?
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.